Watching porn isn't normal or healthy. You probably wouldn't want to shout that to people in the line at the post office or the grocery store, but it's true. You know it, and science and stats prove it. Porn isn't healthy. According to TechCrunch, marriages where online porn is viewed have an increase in infidelity by 300%. Affairs aren't normal or healthy. Hi, I'm Kirsten D. Samuel, Aftershock Recovery Method Coach. Today I want to discuss with you how his porn habits open the door to 5 horrific things. I know sometimes it feels easier to let something slip by than to tackle it head on, especially when it's going to involve an emotional confrontation. But when it comes to your husband's porn addiction, ignoring only increases the destruction to you and your marriage. According to the website fightthenewdrug.org, science and research show that pornography harms by distorting sexual expectations and damaging relationships. Watching porn isn't harmless, nor is it healthy or normal. But like any addiction, porn usage often progresses from soft porn to hard porn, to acting out, affairs, and even violence. Let's look at what could happen if you ignore your husband's porn use. First, loss of intimacy. When lies enter your relationship, intimacy suffers. Many women I coach felt shocked when they discovered their husband's porn addiction. I understand that all too well because it's how I felt when my husband Dave revealed his. Yet if I look back, there were warning signs. According to Covenant Eyes, porn users invariably compare their partner's physical appearance, affection, and sexual performance to what they see in the porn videos. And come on, let's get honest. No one can compete with airbrushed and photoshopped images and scripted sex scenes. This false concept of sex creates dissatisfaction with reality and true intimacy. It's a poor substitute, but the addict doesn't comprehend that. Pay attention to your gut feelings. Do you sense a distancing from your husband? Maybe a loss of intimacy? Stop. Evaluate what's happening. Now, it could be a busy time for both of you. You're spending long hours keeping up with normal life activities. But it could be a red flag signaling something more dangerous that needs immediate attention. The worst thing you could do if you see that red flag is ignore it. It won't get better. Respect yourself and your husband enough to care for your relationship with tenderness. The Bible tells us to guard our hearts, to keep our relationship pure, and to protect each other. Number 2, exposes your children. The Columbus, Ohio TV station WBNS released a story about a case where investigators received a complaint from Google concerning a child porn video that was posted to YouTube depicting a 5-year-old. After further investigation, it turns out the child picked up one of her parents' internet devices and clicked on a link from a recent search and stumbled upon porn. At that age, children cannot understand what they see, and typically they want to act out what they observe. They don't know the dangers of what they see or how it alters their view of healthy sex. Your children or grandchildren are more internet savvy at age 3 than most adults. Nationwide Children's Hospital researchers consider porn an addiction. In this report, they stated that new research from the security technology company Bitdefender reports that 10 and under age group now accounts for 1 in 10 visitors to porn video sites. And when it comes to consumption, this same study shows children under the age of 10 now account for 22% of online porn watching for juveniles under the age of 18. Another danger that could come from repeated porn usage among juveniles is sexual exploitation by a predator. If what they've seen appears to be normal to a child, they're easy targets. Pretending that your husband's porn usage won't affect your children means you don't understand the easy access available through the internet and the insidiousness of porn. My clients tell me how their children accidentally saw things that disturbed them. Often, this is how these women discover their husband's porn addiction. Jesus tells us in the Bible that anyone who harms a child is better off tying a cement wheel to their necks and jumping into the ocean. So if the only reason you confront your husband's porn use is to protect your children, then do so. They need you to teach them the truth about love and sex, not the warped view they see in porn. Number 3, unrealistic sex expectations. No, I didn't say that incorrectly. In a recent article by Fight the New Drug, repeated porn usage increases the likelihood that your spouse develops unhealthy and unrealistic expectations for what normal sex encompasses and how you view sex. In this article, they state that it's no secret porn is wildly unrealistic and often incredibly toxic. Yet survey results also showed that over half of 11 to 16-year-old boys, about 53%, and over a third of 11 to 16-year-old girls, 39%, reported believing that pornography was a realistic depiction of sex, according to this article. One myth perpetuated through porn is that a woman enjoys violent sex, even rape. Yet rape victims often live with PTSD symptoms, depression, and fears. Another myth states that even when a woman says no, it's perfectly acceptable to pursue sex, even painful or violent sex. God tells us in Ephesians 5 to love each other like Christ loves us. This means that this love seeks the other person's best instead of your preferences. It means being willing to die for your spouse. Pornography is self-focused and selfish. It is poison to your soul and relationship. The fourth thing is divorce. In a 2002 informal survey of 350 divorce lawyers, these lawyers reported that roughly 60% of their cases, pornography plays a significant role, with excessive internet porn use contributing to more than half of those cases. The porn use doesn't have to mean the end of your marriage. It does cause great damage. For my husband and me, it didn't destroy our marriage, but our recovery journey has been long, difficult, and strewn with pain. We survived not because we are unique or something special, but because we chose to submit to God first for His intervention in our lives. Frankly, it's the only way I know to survive this kind of devastation. Only God can take porn's destruction and remake a marriage. God alone redeems us when we accept His free gift of salvation and agree to follow His ways, not our selfish ones. It takes a new level of commitment and submission to God and each other that society doesn't believe is possible. But we live it every day as we humble ourselves before God and each other. And the fifth one is probably the scariest one for me, and that is violence. In an interview with Ted Bundy just a day or two before his execution, Dr. James Dobson Jr. discussed how porn influenced Bundy's life. Bundy confessed he first viewed porn through magazines. However, as he progressed in his addiction, the combination of violence with sex brought about abhorrent behavior. He talked about how hardcore porn influenced his thoughts and fantasies, and eventually, the urge came to act out these fantasies. Though at the end of his life, Bundy took full responsibility for his actions, he looked at his porn usage as an addiction that evolved into cravings for harder and harder thrills. Pornography is a progressive addiction. What starts out as a few glances at pictures quickly moves to vicarious living through videos, which become increasingly violent to satisfy the dopamine high. As Bundy said, the combination of sex and violence is toxic. Covenant Eyes has an insightful ebook entitled Your Brain on Porn. In this ebook, they talk about how porn rewires the brain. They explain how just 5 hours of porn changes your brain. 5 hours. According to this report, neurobiologist Peter Milner explains that our brains are wired to be attracted to that which is unfamiliar and novel. This inward drive is what helps us to learn new things and adapt to our environment. But as Milner explains, it is possible to become addicted to novelty and uncertainty. Over the time, the brain that feeds on erotic media is trained to equate sexual excitement with the novelty and variety of pornography. Eventually, the familiar face, body, and sexual performance of a spouse doesn't arouse the way it's used to, according to Milner. The good news is that God created our brains with neuroplasticity. We aren't condemned to continue down an addictive path. We have a choice. The addict who chooses to turn from his porn can do so. Yes, it takes hard work, coaching, and therapy, but it can be done. It's imperative to get help, and the proper kind of help, from a sexual addiction therapist and an experienced coach. Well, what's your next step? First of all, get help. The average couple waits 6 years to get the help they need. Don't be part of that statistic. You need help as much as he does. I've walked this path and understand your pain, confusion, anger, and numbness. But I know how to heal from the pain too. Together we will devise a plan that moves you from your current pain to a delightful future. Dave and I live free from porn today because we took that first bold step to get there. God met our needs, fears, concerns, and struggles every step of the way. I know God will do the same for you. Let's talk. Hop on over to kirstendsamuel.com and click the blue button and schedule a free session.